Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here, and welcome to this little bit of a creepy fact video for you guys. Today I wanted to just go through and kind of give little hidden meanings behind all of the random things that you see in graveyards and cemeteries on gravestones in particular, and what they mean. Now, the list goes on and on and on and on, but I'm going to just kind of cover the most common and the most popular out of all of these items. So first up, we have the winged skull. Now, popular especially in the 17th and 18th centuries, the flying skull signifies the fleetingness of life and the soul soaring into the afterlife. Of course, this is also used as the logo for Avenged Sevenfold, so I'm sure people will make a joke about that somewhere in here. The next thing is the flying hourglass. Similar to the winged skull, it actually represents the swiftness of time and its passing, sometimes literally with flying wings. So it just kind of symbolizes how fast things can happen and change in an instant. Next up, you have clasping hands. Hands are common on graves, whether pointing up as an indication to heaven or down as a divine message to those below. Often, two hands clasped together is a final farewell between the living and the dead, and it is especially done on tombs of married couples where one partner has passed away but the other is still living at the time. Next up, you have the inverted torch. Now, this shows that the soul is still burning in the afterlife. That one is a little dark and creepy, and I'm not really sure why you would want to symbolize that on a grave, but there you go. Another one of the most common symbols on gravestones are doves. Now, doves have forever symbolized peace and fertility and just home and loving and caring. Now, doves, most notably, however, in the cemetery scene, are found on graves of women who have died young, and it represents their purity and that they are finally at peace and ascending to heaven, or lying dead if a person perished suddenly. Next up, and I've seen this actually quite a bit myself, is snapped roses. Now, the bloom of the rose that is snapped off symbolizes the age of a lady when she died, whether it is a rosebud or in full bloom and its thorny stems snapped, signified that she died too soon, which I think is actually kind of cool. I would have never known that. So yeah, I've seen lots of flowers carved into gravestones, but the snapped off ones always gave me a little bit of a question. Next up is tree stump. Now, tree stump tombs are often a sign that life was cut too short. So usually on younger people who passed away suddenly from disease or tragedy in some way. Next up, there is wheat, which, along with other symbols of plant life, so oak leaves in particular, symbolizes a long life that was of a natural death. So somebody who lived out a really long and healthy, hearty life, who literally had to be taken by the reaper in order to leave this world, instead of dying from some disease or tragedy at the time. One of the other ones that appears most notably is animals, but in particular lambs. Now, lambs are usually found on graves of children, and it is just in a Christian symbolization of how children are the lambs of God, and also symbolizes innocence and their connection to that. Another one that I have seen a lot personally in graveyards is an open book. Now, this book represents the life of a person and their love of literature, which I could see that happening on my roommate's gravestone. When she passes away, I will probably put a giant book up there. And depending on their faith, it could also symbolize a Bible and the openness of a human heart to God. It could also be the deeds of the person's life being recorded. So depending on how you view it, all of these things can be taken in different ways. One other one that I've seen quite a bit in the States, and not so much in the cemeteries that I have visited in Canada, is a draped urn. So it's an urn that has like drapery kind of covering it. It's incredibly common in Victorian cemeteries, which I think is partially why I haven't really seen it here as much. And you definitely see it in European cemeteries when you look at pictures of them. It is a visual representation of the separation between the living and the dead. So the protective shroud for the soul, as well as the classically inspired symbol of death being the urn. Last, but definitely not least, is open gates. Now, whether it is a little miniature stone gate on top of a gravestone, or it is carved into it, or there is a fence around and a gate built in, it shows that there is a pathway to the other side and is directing the soul of the person through that gate in order to pass on peacefully without issue. One of the ones that I would also really love to mention here as well is the leaving of coins. I have seen quite a number of people actually have big silver dollars permanently put into gravestones, and this is just part of the belief of putting coins in the eyes in order to pay their passage through to the next realm. That is it. If there are any more that you guys would like me to look into, if you have seen something in a cemetery that's made you question what it means, please do not hesitate to leave it in the comments section below. I would love to investigate it further for you. If you haven't already, please give this video a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. And I will see you in the next video.